Hey family, welcome back to another edition of Health Hustle Chronicles. And this is where the grind meets growth in the world of healthcare. As you know, this is not your typical podcast because I'm going to bring you some of those topics that people don't like to talk about. And we're all about that hustle here. So today I got a good topic. Like always, hustlers, my topics are absolutely fire. So this is probably the most personal to me because I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I've been on that grind. I've been on that hustle. And today we're going to be talking about the unseen sacrifices, what people don't tell you about chasing success. Listen, this is going to be a juicy one. Some of the topics we're going to cover is time away from loved ones, financial instability at the start, which we all been there, or you may be there if you're getting ready to start your hustle, the mental and physical health, the trade-offs, loneliness on the journey, the sacrifices of short-term gratification, the emotional strain and self-doubt, missed opportunities elsewhere, relationships that are tested by the grind, sacrificing comfort for growth, and the emotional sacrifice of letting go, sacrificing immediate validation, and then constant learning and personal investment. And lastly, the sacrifice of fear and comfort zones. Like usual, I want to keep this probably, 30, maybe 45 minutes. It depends on how many questions you have. But before we get too deep in this, guess what? You know what we got to do? We got to tap into that intro. Let's get going. From the Health Hustle Chronicles, where the grind meets growth in the world of healthcare, this ain't your typical podcast. I'm here to shine light on the talent that's out there hustling every day, introduce you to coaches who can level up your game, and break down exactly how you can climb the ladder in this industry. Whether you're just stepping in or already in the trenches, I'm going to give you the real deal on how to elevate beyond the road and claim what's yours. I'm talking about unlocking opportunities that seem hidden, finding leadership when it feels like no one's got your back, and building a roadmap to success even when the path ain't clear. From time management to battling self-doubt, lack of mentorship, to the struggle of getting noticed. I get it. I've been there. And I'm going to bring you that hustle mindset with every episode so you can take that next step towards career growth and wealth. If you're ready to go beyond surviving and start thriving in healthcare, then this podcast is for you. It's time to hustle harder, grow smarter, and elevate together. Let's get it, hustlers. Get it. That's it. Let's get it. Let's get it, hustlers. Let's go. I'm telling you, every time I hear my thing, man, I'm ready to go. Like, it gets me pumped up for what we're here about. We're about that hustle. We're about that grind. And if you're here right now, it's because you're looking to level up your career, right? You're looking to level up your hustle, period. You can be that entrepreneur. You can just be a full-on go-getter, right? Today's topic is fire. It's unseen. Today's topic is fire. It's unseen sacrifices, what people don't tell you about chasing success. So let's just jump right in it. Time away from loved ones. Listen, let me sip to this one before I even get started because I know this is going to be juicy. If you're on that hustle, you're on that grind, and if you haven't, you need to go ahead and get mentally prepared that there's a lot of sacrifices. With success comes tons of sacrifices. And generally speaking, those sacrifices that you're going to face, it's going to be time. It's time away from everything. We're talking about time away from your family. They're going to the football game. Guess who's not going? You ain't going. Time away from family. They going to the skating rink. Guess who's not going? You. Your friend group getting together this weekend because they're having a fellowship, they're having a party, they're having a get together, and guess who was invited? You. Guess who's not going? You. Why aren't you not going? Because you committed to that grind, you committed to that hustle. And if you're not, then you're probably going to find yourself at the game, and then you're going to be looking at yourself later and asking yourself, well, why didn't I accomplish this? Why didn't I do this? Because there's sacrifices that need to be made. You need to ask yourself right now, check yourself right now. Am I prepared mentally to make those sacrifices that's going to help me get to here? Then you need to ask yourself, am I prepared physically to do those sacrifices that's going to help me get to here? Like, it's real talk. There's sacrifices. I'm going to talk a whole lot more about this, but it truly is emotional toll when it comes to this grind, this hustle. You're going to miss birthdays, family events, just casual downtime. you're straining your relationships. If you value your relationship, my advice to you is you need to communicate your vision and your focus with your loved one before you get in on this journey, because they need to understand where they fit into the equation, right? They need to understand how much time is truly going to be made available for them. And so they can make the decision whether or not they want to be part of this mission with you. So don't be holding out on people and acting like they're supposed to just follow in line just because you have this vision. Your vision is your vision. It's not their vision, it's your vision. So please share your vision with your loved ones so they know where they're going to fall short or where they're going to be left out on your hustle. That's so important. Oh, this is a good one too. Balance. You talking about work-life balance when you're on hustle, especially if you're early on. There's no work-life balance. Um, you could try to have some work-life balance, and you can talk to all the hustlers that I interview. That that's not there's not a real serious work-life balance. You're out there grinding, right? You're trying to change your situation today. So you're hustling today with an outcome focus on tomorrow. And then that hustle, man, there's some early mornings, there's some late nights. There's going to be some days, if you're truly out there grinding and hustling, you may be only getting 5, 6 hours of sleep. And some of us, we're getting less than that. That's because the dedication to the grind. Now, I'm not sharing this with you as to give you some kudos or make you feel that, you know what, you're doing the right thing because you're investing all these hours on the grind, because that leads to burnout as well. And I know there's other topics that we talked about, and we're going to talk about it some more in the future about how to handle that burnout. But if you're on the grind in the very beginning, that hustle is real, man, burnout's going to be a part of that. Oh, topic 2, financial instability at the start. Generally speaking, when you chose to get on this grind, you probably looked at your checkings and savings and said, you know what, this ain't really adding up. This ain't where I thought it was gonna be, right? And you decided, I want to change this. Like, I want my bank account to be a lot more fuller than this. And that probably was your motivation, right? Some of us is financially, I'm trying to get to that next level. Others is generationally, I'm trying to change what, my generational growth looks like, right? Others, it could just be like, I enjoy the hustle, so I'm going after this hustle anyway. But in the very beginning, whether you have stacks of chips or you don't have any chips, expect to spend some chips. You probably heard the saying, it takes money to make money. In the grind game, that's 100% true. It takes money to make money. Am I telling you you need $100,000 to start? Absolutely not. I'm not telling you that at all. Am I telling you that you can't make it if you only have $1,000 in your account? I'm not telling you that at all. I'm just telling you, I'm trying to set the expectation that that when you start this journey, be prepared to spend a little bit. You're going to have to. It's part of the game. There's so many different services that are offered today that's going to help you expedite the hustle. Like, there's some automation, right? But that automation ain't free. Some of it is, but a lot of the automation that you want to do the task for you, it's going to cost you a little bit of money. So you got to be prepared to break some of that off. And this success doesn't happen overnight. In the very beginning, expect to struggle financially. Whether you're starting your business, switching your careers, investing in yourself, you may face months, even years of uncertainty. I mean, years. So mentally prepare yourself for the journey. Mentally prepare yourself for the long game, because that's what we're hustling about. Then there's all kind of unforeseen costs when it comes to this grind. Bootstrapping projects, right? I need some help with it, or I'm trying to do it myself. And it could be something as simple as, hey, you know what? I need a website for my business, right? And those websites could cost you hundreds of dollars, maybe even thousands of dollars. Or it could be like, I want a virtual assistant that can take some of this off my plate. Even though virtual assistants are fairly inexpensive, they're still not cheap. So you got to pay for that, right? Or you can be like, hey, I'm just trying to start an LLC. Guess what? You got to pay for that as well. So there's all kind of unforeseen sacrifices when it comes to chasing that level of success. So the cool part, though, and I wouldn't even say it's cool, but there's an understanding now that this is where the grit comes in. You need to be willing to take financial risks and make tough decisions to get going when resources are limited. Some of this means asking your friends or your family members for support and or assistance, right? Some of us is going to have to take out loans to help the hustle uh, see fruition. So you need to think about that as well. This topic right here, we're going to go ahead and shift to this one before we can get started. Mental and physical health trade-offs. Later, maybe next week, I'm going to try to introduce you to one or two therapists or whatnot, so they can kind of help us process, all these emotions and frustrations that we deal with. But if you're on that grind, you're on that hustle, you're trying to level up, there's some definitely mental and physical trade-offs, because this is what happens. I'm so focused and committed on the grind. Guess what I'm not focused on? I'm not focused on this body. I'm looking around, I'm like, man, I got like a little roll. Y'all probably can't see it, but I'm saying, like, just a little bitty. Listen, don't judge me. I'm hustling. But I got there's a small one. It's not that big. I'm about to get back in shape. But you're sacrificing your body, right? If you're out there hustling, if you're out there grinding, because you're more committed, you're putting more hours and energy on what that hustle and that grind looks like than what you are putting back in that body. And that could actually shorten your lifespan, right? If we want to keep it 100, that can actually shorten your lifespan. I'm not saying go out there and keep grinding until you die. What I'm saying is, try to squeeze in a little bit of that balance with taking care of your body, because if you don't take care of your body, guess what? You're not going to be here to be able to share your information with other people or continue that hustle and grind or provide for your family. And then there's that mental trade-off as well. All right, so if you guys don't know, who I am, I'm Patrick. At this point, a little bit about me. Former healthcare executive, rose to the ranks, did, amazing things within the healthcare industry. Now I'm in a position to kind of reach back, give back, educate, uplift, and inspire the next generation of leaders, right? So that's what I'm talking about this. But mentally, starting this journey, creating this business, building this brand, right? Creating my store line, my products and services, writing my book, that hustle, man, that's been, for me, it's been like this 15-month grind. Heads down. Have I done a whole lot of working out? No, I haven't. So physically, my body's kind of going to crap a little bit, but mentally, the struggles, man, 15 months later, I still struggle with that mentally. And I'm going to keep it 100 with you folks, because you're going to feel, and I'm going to touch on this on the next topic, but that hustle, it feels lonely. It really, really does. So mentally, it starts messing with you. And then there's that doubt that's going to creep in, and we'll hit on this as well. So self-care is important, and I do want to do a plug here. Every other week, I do Self-Care Sundays. I have two other young ladies that I do it with. So you want to tap into that podcast as well. And that's just called Self-Care Sundays. You can look us up on Instagram. Of course, my tag, so you can follow us there. But getting into that loneliness. Listen, the higher you climb, the more isolating it becomes. And it can become like that, because many don't realize that success, it can be lonely, especially when you're laser focused on your goals. And success can be lonely, especially when you're laser focused on your goals. Success can be lonely, especially when you're laser focused on your goals. And other people around you, they're not doing the same thing as you. Like, this is your grind, this is your hustle. So you're locked in, you're laser focused or whatnot, and they're living their life. Like, they're back to their normal routine. So it feels like, man, I'm on this island. I'm out here doing this by myself. And honestly, are you doing it by yourself? No, technically you're not, because there's hustlers like me that's out here doing it as well. But I'm not hustling with you. So that mindset, that thought process, you're 100% correct. You're out there doing this yourself. This is your energy. This is what you're putting into the game. And what you put in the game could be your ROI, which is your return on investment. But when that lonely creeps in, especially working late nights, turning down social invites, keeping your grind private with others, The other thing too is not everybody is going to support or understand your vision. And then as you grow, your circle may actually shrink. But that's part of the sacrifice, right? They say in order to gain something, you have to lose some. That's the hustle game. In order to gain some, you have to lose some. You have to decide what that trade-off looks like for you. But remember, in order to gain some, you have to lose some. The sacrifice of short-term gratification. Delayed gratification, it's a major unseen sacrifice. While others are out there enjoying immediate rewards like new gadgets, vacations, or leisure time, you're reinvesting in yourself and your business or your craft. So that's that sacrifice, that delayed gratification. You have to mentally lock in today that, okay, all this stuff that I want to do, I'm not going to do it. When am I going to do it? I don't know. That's up to you. You need to decide when you're going to be able to do it. So it may be weeks, it may be months, it may actually be years. But what I would tell you do, sprinkle in a little bit of the stuff that you want to do, and then a lot more of that hustle, right? So you're going to hustle a lot and sprinkle in a little bit. And the reason I, suggest that you do that is so you don't get burned out. This hustle is the long game. If we're on that journey, if we're on that grind, and we're trying to make it to that next level, take care of yourself, right? But don't take care of yourself so much that you forget why you're hustling. And then there's a lot of discipline that needs to be involved in this. Discipline is key, because if you're not disciplined, chances are you probably won't see your goals to the end. You won't see your goals to completion. Discipline has to be part of your game. And then the other thing has to be part of your game is understanding that your success doesn't compare to somebody else's success. I said that again. Your success doesn't compare to somebody else's success. You're going to be on that grind, right? You're trying to rise. I'm trying to get to the next level. And you're seeing other people that look like you, around the same age as you, actually live in your same neighborhood, right? Maybe they're in your friend group and they're elevating and they're not even working half as hard as you, or they're working just as hard as you, whatever the case. What you don't want to do is get caught in that game where it's, well, Patrick's doing this. Why am I not doing this? Rodney's doing this. Why am I not on that level yet? I'm actually smarter than him. I actually, have more support than that person. Listen, if that's your focus, if your focus is on comparing yourself to other people, then I would tell you now to get out the game. Like, truly get out the game. Get out the hustle game. Because your hustle game is your hustle game, right? Your success depends on you 100%. You can't be looking at what other people are out there doing and then question why it hasn't happened to you. That's not your journey, right? If it was your journey, you wouldn't be here listening to my podcast. You would already fulfilled your goals. And then there's the emotional strain of self-doubt. Oh my goodness. Let me say that again. The emotional strain of self-doubt. Oh, let's sip to this one. Self-doubt's a real thing. All right, so I'll recap really quick. In 15 months, this is what happened to me in 15 months. Actually my job got let go, I got let go of my job, right? And in 15 months, I taught myself so in those 15 months, I taught myself how to edit videos. I thought that was going to be important for me in my journey. So, I spent the whole summer working on editing videos, heads down, grinding, crying. Have you ever tried to edit a video, like truly edit a whole video, an hour-long video? Have you tried to do something like that? There's a lot of fantastic tools out there, and you probably use some of them. But to actually truly edit a video takes, so much time. In the very beginning, I cried so much. Like, y'all, you may be laughing at me, right? Man, I bawled, and it's multiple nights, just bawling, crying, because I was like, man, am I ever gonna get this? Does this make sense? Is it going to pay off for me, right? And so in the very beginning, there was a lot of self-doubt. Even today, man, 15 months into this, right? 15 months, you get the self-doubt creeps its way into your life. And what you're doubting is you're doubting whether or not you're still going to have that stamina. You're doubting whether or not you're still going to have that energy. You're doubting whether or not if you're actually being seen. You're doubting whether or not your dreams or your goals are going to come to fruition. That self doubt is part of the game. And I'm going to tell you now, I can't take that away from you. You can go and talk to somebody. You can get a therapist or counselor or whatnot. But I can almost guarantee you, you're still going to have that. And that's the whole reason why you're going to see that therapist and counselor, because you have that self doubt. So this is all about mentally preparing you for what your hustle may look like, and it may not. You just may be that perfect that person that, listen, you're stone cold and you're good to go. You don't care about self doubt. I'm just going after it. Kudos, more power to you. But for a lot of us, and that self doubt is real. And this is when it gets the most real. When you have bills that need to be paid, when you have mouths that need to be fed, when you have kids that are in school that need supplies, right? When you have lights that utilities that need to make sure that they stay on. That grind is serious. And if you're going to school full time, you're out there hustling full time, you're like, man, I don't have any time for family anymore. So the self-doubt creeps in also with understanding that I may not be as good of a parent, or I may not be as good as a person as others want me to be. So there's self-doubt around there. There's the self-doubt around, am I even good enough? Right? And even though you got faith, it's okay to question, and that self-doubt is real. Because chasing success, it often means living constantly and uncertainly. And excuse me, chasing success often means you're living constantly in uncertainty. Wondering if your sacrifices will, wondering if the sacrifices you're making are even worth it. So I would, before we move on to the next topic here, I would just ask you to try to surround yourself with, a foundation of people that will support you mentally. There's the people that we're looking for to support us financially, but you should also think about who's going to be there for you to support you mentally, especially in your times of doubt. So you want to give that some thought. This topic, this one here is missed opportunities elsewhere. We're going to sip through this one. So while you're focused on that hustle, other opportunities, they're going to pass you by, whether that's career advancements, personal milestones, or even relationships that could have been, right? Maybe there was that cute little honey, that cute little guy, whatever. They've been trying to hit you up for quite some time. Guess what you did? You left them on red. Why did you do that? Because you're focused on that hustle. Your thought process at this point is, you know what? If I accomplish this, right? If I've achieved X, then this person will be there. Is that true? Who knows? Who really knows? But that has to be your focus. And that's also an opportunity that you miss. The other thing too is you hustle on that grind. We're talking about career opportunities. It may be in your own job. Maybe like, hey, Patrick, there's a great opportunity. We think you're going to be a good fit for. We want you to do this, and it pays this. And that's very tempting. You're like, wow. Let me give that some thought, right? And you go back and you start doing the numbers. You're like, man, that's like way better and way more money than what I'm making now. Or the opportunity is going to potentially lead me to another even higher position. But you go back and you start looking at your vision board. You go back and you start looking at your notes. And you be like, okay, is that worth it for where I'm trying to go? Is that going to delay me to get, is that going to delay me from getting to where I'm trying to go? Those are questions you need to ask yourself. But I can almost guarantee you, if you're truly hustling, you're out there putting in that work, there's going to be tons of missed opportunities. And you have to live with that. You really, really do. So success often means accepting that you can't have it all. And it seems awkward or it seems counterintuitive from what the word is. Success for a lot of people means you have it all. but that's generally not the case. It's not the case at all. Success, you're generally going to have success in like one or two areas, right? It could be financial success, but my relationship sucks. It can be career success, but my relationship still sucks. It can be I have personal success at home and my business success sucks. You have to really think about it. There truly are going to be some trade offs. Very few of us have it all. You got family, I got financial, I have career, I got friends, and I can able to squeeze all this stuff in and do it all together. You know what? I drink to you if that's you. For me, I'm not there yet. I'm still out here on my grind, right? And part of my grind is to help you realize and understand your grind. This is a good one right here. Relationships tested by the grind. Ah, so many of us, man, have gone through, and divorces have broken up from long lasting relationships with significant others, have started a relationship and stopped the relationship because your grind is so big and clear to you. So these relationships, if you don't have a foundation of communication in your relationship, there's a strong chance that you're not going to be in that relationship by the time you reach the end of your hustle. I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute. If you don't have a strong commitment in your relationship where there's a lot of communication and your visions are aligned, right? You and whomever you're dating or whomever you're with, the vision is the same. Like, okay, I want this two-story house and I want three-car garage and I want to have brand new vehicles in my garage, right? If your significant other, if the person and you're in a relationship with, if they don't want those same things, like those values are not in line with what they're trying to accomplish, probably a good chance you're not going to be in a relationship once you actually make it to the end of your grind, once you make it to the end of your hustle. So that's where that communication comes in. You can be like, hey, babe, this is where I'm trying to go. From what I understand, let's sit down and have this conversation. I understand you would like to achieve, this level of success as well. But these are the hours. This is what's required of me. These are the steps that I have to take to actually get to here. And if that person is not in line with you, probably not going to be in that relationship. So you need the other thing too is those relationships. They don't have to be just these physical relationships, these intimate relationships. These can be personal relationships outside of that significant other, like your friendships. Um, you're part of a large group of friends. They always keep you on the group chat. They invite you in. They're sending you messages just daily. You look, and one particular day, I have 100 messages came from my group chat. Am I checking them? I'm not. Why? Am I trying to be selfish? Yeah, technically, yeah. I'm being selfish for my time. I'm being selfish for my focus. I'm being selfish for my vision. Does that mean I don't respect them anymore? Does that mean I don't want to hang out with them anymore? No, not at all. That doesn't mean that. That just means my hustle, my grind is so significant to me that those relationships, if they're valuable relationships, they're going to be there for me, especially when I need them, right? And I feel like I've been able to communicate my vision with other people so they know what's going on. But if that communication is not there and you haven't adequately shared your vision, adequately shared what your path to success looks like, it's a good chance you may not be in that relationship. So things you want to think about. Sacrificing your comfort for growth. Success often requires stepping outside of your comfort zone, whether it's taking on risk, learning new skills, or putting yourself in uncomfortable situations for the sake of growth. Raise your hand. Let me know. When's the last time you've been uncomfortable, like truly uncomfortable? Like so uncomfortable that it's hard to sleep at night because you're thinking about the very next day and how uncomfortable it's going to be. Many of us, we're out here hustling, and you've gotten so comfortable in your hustle, that you're not even growing anymore. You plateaued. Why are you plateaued? Because you're comfortable. So I would encourage you this: seek those opportunities where you continue to get uncomfortable. That's where the growth happens. Those growth happens in those uncomfortable moments. Sacrifice involves constantly challenging yourself, pushing past the fear, and being willing to get uncomfortable to level up. You have to. So this year, let's say over the last 15 months, things that I've done, and you're probably in that same situation, things that I've done, wrote a book, self-wrote the book, self-published the book through my company, EDP Media, right? I did that. Uh, Upskilled myself by learning how to do video editing. Spent a whole freaking summer last year doing it, the whole entire summer doing it. It was a whole sacrifice. Uh, did a reality show about for entrepreneurs. I've never done a reality show before. Why did I do that? Because I was putting myself in an uncomfortable situation. The other thing that I did is I created a whole clothing line. Why did I do that? Because it was part of my brand recognition. Like, in fact, speaking of brand clothing line, tap in with your boy. Now, some more of my merch right here. You can check me out. Y'all know where to check me out. But I got all kind of merch out there, especially around this time. This is gift giving season. So make sure you get somebody something where they can continue to focus on the hustle. That's what my product line is all about. To continue to inspire you, educate you, and encourage you to remember why we're out here doing what we're doing. We're hustling for a different outcome, whatever that outcome is for you, right? Yeah, but tapping back in, constantly challenging yourself. You have to constantly challenge yourself. Don't get so comfortable in your hustle that you're thinking you're doing everything right. Because chances are you've gotten comfortable and you've stopped growing. So do that. Sacrificing comfort for growth often means sacrificing the stability of having a traditional path. Some of us may feel that it's so easy just to continue to go to work and wait, a year to get my 3% or my 5% increase, and then 2 years after that get promoted to the next level, and then go 3 to 5 more years before I can get another salary increase, or maybe every year I'm getting my 3% salary increase, and then 3 years later I finally get promoted to another level. So you take that path, right? And this is for you. You taking that path, and it takes you 15 years to reach the outcome that you're trying to get to. Kudos to you, right? Kudos to you. But for others like me, that I'm trying to hustle in a different way, that ain't my journey. That's not my grind. But if that's your grind, hey, I respect that. But that's the traditional path where we kind of wait it out. We bid our time. We continue to level up, through promotions, through salary increases and things like that. But for others like me, I don't want your 3%. I don't want your 6%. I want the 100% increase. If I'm making this, give me 100% of that. That's what I want. That's what I want. Like, I'm worth it, right? I felt like I was worth it. So that's the untraditional path, and it may be in your cards. The emotional sacrifice of letting go. Sometimes chasing success means letting go of things or people that you once valued, whether it's toxic relationships, unproductive habits, or even old versions of yourself. Sacrifice often is necessary for growth. So we kind of been talking about sacrifice basically from the very beginning. But there are going to be toxic relationships. There may be relationships you're in right now. They're not even toxic. They're just perfect relationships. But they may not be there because there's this emotional sacrifice that you're going after, that you're going to be having as well. And when I mean emotional, it means like, okay, yeah, you're physically present. You're in the same room as other people. But emotionally, your mind is somewhere else. And you're thinking, well, I'm here with you. Well, what does that mean? That means absolutely nothing. Most of us, I wouldn't say most of us, all of us, we're human. And in being human, we're looking for that emotional connection. And if you're emotionally unavailable, listen, there's a chance that you're going to have to let that relationship go. You're going to have to let that connection go. Again, this can be relationships. This can be habits. This can be friends, whatnot. There's also emotional toll leaving behind what that no longer serves your purpose. But there's also this emotional toll of leaving behind what no longer serves your purpose. It could be extremely emotional, meaning, listen, I got friends I've been with for 20, 30 years, right? And then now that I'm on this grind, I'm not talking to them as much anymore. Emotionally, that impacts me and it impacts my friend group, right? It impacts my friends because once we had this tight knit relationship where we would talk, every so often, and that time between communicating gets longer and longer and longer away. And it gets like that because you're on your hustle, you're on your grind. So you have to ask yourself, are you committed enough? And is this of interest to you that you will allow others to be emotionally disconnected from you? I'm not saying that you can't juggle the two. Chances are you can do your darndest. But reality is that emotional connection that you once had, it's not going to be the same. So you need to think about that. But I also want to remind you that leveling up, it's a natural part of the game, even when it's difficult. So I think you can do it, hustlers, but you have to let me know, tap in, let me know exactly what you had to let go from an emotional standpoint in order to level up your hustle as well. Next topic, let's drink. Sacrificing immediate validation. The world around you might not recognize your efforts until long after the fact. Success often a delayed reward, and that can be frustrating. I'll read that again. The world around you might not recognize your efforts until long after the fact. Success is often a delayed reward, and it can be frustrating. So, talking about sacrificing immediate validation. Reality, you're probably not going to get any immediate validation once you start. And what does this mean for you? It means it feels like the grind is even harder. If you're not getting cheerleaders, you're not getting hoorahs, you're not getting people screaming your name, you're not getting handwritten letters, you're not getting sweet texts from other people at 1 o'clock in the morning while you're still up trying to level up, and you're not getting that validation, that's going to make your grind so much harder, right? So you're not getting that applause, you're not getting the results, you're not getting the recognition. This is when mentally the struggle can get extremely real. And this is where a lot of people, they tap out because it's too much. It's too much. It's not for everybody. For you to get to that next level, it may not be for you. So I want you to challenge yourself and ask yourself, am I committed to the hustle? Am I committed to the grind? Because you're going to be sacrificing that immediate validation. Sometimes you may go days, weeks, months, or maybe even years without someone validating that they actually see you. Hopefully it's not years for you, but I want you to lock in right now and go ahead and drop some lines and say, I'm committed. If you say I'm committed, I'm going to go back and look at this and I'll be like, okay, I see him on that grind. I'll make sure to send you a personal email as well if you drop your contact information. Or you just DM me. You can hit me up on Instagram or LinkedIn. The next one, constant learning and personal investment. Success requires continuous learning and self-investment, whether that's in the form of education, mentors, or upgrading your skills. This is where you want to kind of surround yourself with the circle of influence that you're seeking to be like. All right. So if you're seeking to be a millionaire, then you want to try to place yourself in situations where other millionaires are. If you're looking to be an executive director, I want to be around other people who have that skills or they're executive directors. Say I'm looking to get into the C-suite. I'm looking to be a vice president, a COO, a CEO. What am I going to do? I'm going to start networking with people who have those titles, right? So I'm changing my circle, and it's for my benefit because I'm trying to get to their level. So I want to glean as much as I can from them. The other thing too is I'm looking at, okay, I'm trying to get to these levels. Is it possible I can get a mentor, somebody that can help me break down the game to help me make that hustle a lot more easier, to help me realize my success a lot more quicker? Those are things that you want to think about as well. And then continue to invest in yourself, upskilling yourself. Coursework, it could be I'm going to school. It could be, again, I'm going to get a coach. It could be I'm actually attending these workshops online. I'm attending all these webinars. I'm doing course. I mean, we talked about courses again. Whatever it is that important to you to get to that next level? And do you have to do that to reach that next level? There's so many different things in life that you don't have to do that, but there's so many more things in life that you do have to do that. And then there's the time constraint. You're going to be sacrificing time, money, comfort to invest in yourself because it's not glamorous. You're going to be cutting back on your spending habits because if you're upskilling yourself, it requires financial investment, generally speaking, right? And so that means something else is going to have to be cut out in your life in order to make this dream become reality, right? So time, money, comfort, all that goes into that. Then lastly, the sacrifice of fear and comfort zones. And lastly, the sacrifice of fear and comfort zones. To achieve greatness, you'll often have to sacrifice your comfort zone and face your fears head on. This might mean taking on high pressure situations or making moves that you're not fully prepared for. Let that sink in. To get to greatness, you're going to have to sacrifice your comfort, face your fears head on. Here's the biggest challenge for most of us hustlers out there. It's our fears. The first fear you're probably going to have is that doubt. Am I even going to be able to do this? Second fear you're going to have is being able to share your vision or your hustle with somebody else. And I don't encourage you to actually do that yet until you vetted it out, until you thought it through, because I don't want anyone to start stomping on your dreams, on your vision before you even really get started, right? And then that comfort, because you're going to have to upskill somewhere. You're going to have to learn some new skills. You're going to have to learn how to network. You're going to have to change your circle of influence that's going to help you realize your vision. So the sacrifice of fear as well as your comfort, that's all part of the hustle. That's all part of the journey. We talked about this earlier too, the emotional cost of the grind, the emotional cost of the hustle. This is what I want to encourage you though. I want to encourage you to see fear and discomfort as sacrifices worth making for a greater reward that success brings. So I want to encourage you to see fear and discomfort as sacrifices worth making for greater reward for success in your future. I think you got this, hustlers. I really do. Okay, that wraps up today's show. Okay, so that wraps up this episode for Help Hustle Chronicles, where we don't just talk about the grind, we live it. If you're ready to take your career to that next level, now's the time to put in the work. Remember, elevation doesn't come easy, but it's all about staying hungry, staying focused, and hustling smarter. The knowledge is here, the tools, all yours. Now it's up to you to make the moves. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next drop. And if today's episode hit home, share it with somebody who else is on that grind. Together we rise. Until next time, stay hustling, stay learning, and remember, your next level might just be one hustle away. Out, hustlers.